Welcome to the Workamper Show, a podcast devoted to helping you discover how to finance your RV travel dreams. I'm Steve Anderson, the president of Workamper News. Each one of our episodes will either introduce you to people who are already living the RV lifestyle or to opportunities to work short-term jobs. You'll also learn how to hit the road the right way and make the most of every opportunity. Now let's turn over today's show to your host, Greg Gerber.
Thanks, Steve. Today I'm going to speak with a couple who I interviewed 2 years ago. They were the first work campers I ever interviewed for this podcast, and we're going to elaborate on that brief conversation recorded at the Workamper Rendezvous in October 2019. Today's episode is sponsored by Workamper News. With its diamond and platinum membership tools, Workamper News is much more than just a job listing website. When you put the tools of this professional service into action, you'll find out just how easy it can be to turn your work camping dreams into reality. The one-year memberships open the door to a one-stop shop for all things work camping. Being the original source for work camping, you'll find the largest number of job listings, be able to connect with a community of work campers, and view resources compiled by experts who've been enjoying the RV lifestyle for many years. If you're serious about leading a successful and enjoyable work camping lifestyle, then a diamond or platinum membership is for you. You can even get started with a free 30-day trial by visiting www.workcamper.com/trial. Embark on new adventures today with the support of Workamper News behind you. Since our last conversation, Mike and Betty Gill have sold their sticks and bricks home and hit the road as full-time RVers along with Mike's youngest son. They were sidelined this summer due to some family issues that required them to hang around Louisiana. However, they plan to be back at Dollywood Amusement Park in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee later this year or in 2021. They worked for the entertainment complex last year, even though it was shut down, by painting every picnic table and landscaping the campground. Even though all the shows were shut down because of COVID, the Gills stayed active by hiking and biking. In fact, they put 1,200 miles on their electric bikes. The Gills actually started RVing in 2015, a few months after attending their first Workamper Rendezvous gathering. Prior to that, they intended to retire from the corporate world, stay home, plant a garden, and raise chickens. Then, at the urging of another RVer, they attended the rendezvous and their eyes were opened to a whole new way to retire. They did not want to just retire and do nothing all day. RVing helps them keep active not only by hiking and biking, but by working at various jobs around the country. The Gills talk about an exciting East Coast camping excursion they enjoyed where Mike and Betty visited 20 states in 30 days. They are super spontaneous folks who sometimes decide to move to a new location in the morning and they're on the road by noon. They have visited all but 3 states and hope to make it to North Dakota, South Dakota, and Minnesota in 2022. The Gills operate several businesses from their motorhome, doing inspections for people considering buying a new or used RV. Mike has also taken classes to learn how to diagnose and fix problems with their own RV, and he's come to the aid of others staying at the campgrounds from time to time. But their new venture truly has them excited, and that involves doing RV detailing, which goes far beyond washing an RV. They will do 3 or 4 detail jobs a day some days. As a result of all this business activity, the Gills have greatly reduced their tax bill from thousands of dollars a year to a few hundred just by taking advantage of several big deductions. Betty talks about one of her favorite apps for travel that took them places they may never have seen if the app had not directed to them to those points of interest. To share their story and their valuable work camping advice, please welcome Mike and Betty Gill to the show. Thanks for joining me again, Mike and Betty. I appreciate the time. You were the very first podcast interview that we had outside of the owner of Workamper News, Steve Anderson, and that was 2 years ago almost. Can you believe that? And so I thought it'd be a great idea to touch base again and see what you've been up to since we last talked.
I tell you, Greg, and that's you hit on something real important there, how time is flying by, and we've got to take advantage of every day. And I tell everybody when they ask us, what have you been doing? I say, well, every day's an adventure with Mr. Wonderful. So our biggest adventure this last year We sold our sticks and bricks last June the 5th, and we've been living in our motorhome. So we are full-time RVers, and there's 3 of us that live in our motorhome, and Mike's youngest son travels with us, and we are currently parked on Mike's parents' 180-acre farm, and it's a blessing to be here because they are aging and having some health problems. So we are now at the point that we are traveling and work camping in the spring and fall. And then typically during the summer months, we head north to cooler weather. And then, of course, in December and all. But our past experience, work camping experiences, we were at Dollywood in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. I tell everybody that we worked for 40 years in the corporate world, and we're playing now as we work camp the United States. And sometimes that playing does get hard, but it sure is fun, and we're so much enjoying that. So it's a pleasure to be able to get out and about and do that. We did not work at Dollywood last year. And, of course, this year we have been here locally in Louisiana helping with Mike's parents and his sister and brother trying to help out there. And what a blessing that has been. And we do anticipate being back at Dollywood. If not later on this year, we hope to be there next year. So far it's been great, and we sure are still having fun every day.
Wonderful. Did COVID throw any other wrenches into your plans last year?
No, that's what's amazing. Betty talked about we sold our house last June, so it's been a year. And that was in the middle of the pandemic, So our motorhome became our home when they said, when they told everyone to not leave your home unless you have to, we were in our motorhome. So we still worked at a Claybo's campground in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. They needed some maintenance work done while they were shut down, kind of semi-shut down. They were about a third full because people were coming there and staying, and they spaced out the motorhomes in the campground. And so my youngest son and I, we painted every picnic table. We re-landscaped the whole campground, and they just appreciated us coming on even with the pandemic. And we protected ourselves. My son's a doctor, and he told us to wear a mask, to wash our hands all the time. And so we did all that, and we stayed safe. And so the pandemic really did not. I guess the only thing it did. Normally, if you're traveling, you're seeing a lot of shows and entertainment that was not available. But we are bikers and hikers, so we biked and hiked just about every day.
Okay. And how long have you been RVing?
We have been RVing, since I retired 6 years ago, or semi full time because we had not sold our house. We had rented the guest house out, so we were pretty much doing the same thing we're doing now, but we still own a home. So 6 years we've been on the road, but we've had a motorhome since 2010 when we were both working in the professional fields, but we used it mainly to go to LSU football games. We went to every home and away game every year.
Very good. And you've been work camping this entire time, right, that you've been RVing?
Yes, 2014 from our first interview, we were still working and had a friend that was full-time RVing said, y'all need to go to Heber Springs, Arkansas and see this thing called Rendezvous, and said, y'all are talking about retiring at the end of this year, and I just believe that's for y'all. And of course, we say God sent him to us because we were going to go home and raise chickens, plant a garden, and we were going to farm. And it rocked our world. We went to Rendezvous. We came home, met with our CPA. I resigned my job, and we hit the road January 2015. And
haven't looked back.
Haven't looked back, and don't think we'll ever look back. It's as long as, and we're so blessed with our health. We're both in our 60s. Neither one of us are on any medication. We don't hardly ever go see a doctor, and Of course, I think that when you retire, if you sit and do nothing, is when you're gonna have
That's right.
problems. So we hike and bike. We have electric bikes now, which doesn't mean we don't pedal. We still pedal, but when we're going up a mountain, we get help. But
So-
I've got 1,200 miles on my bike, and Betty's approaching the same thing. And next Tuesday would be my 65th birthday, so we're going to bike 65 miles to celebrate my birthday.
Oh, that's cool. What kind of bikes did you decide to get?
We bought the Rads out of Seattle, Washington. We had researched, and the price for the service and everything that we saw, it fit us. When you start looking at electric bikes, so whereas the first ones that pop up are $3,000 to $5,000. Well, these bikes are $1,500, and we've had them for 2 years, and they have been great.
Okay, very good. So where have all the places you've gone, you've spent most of the time at Dollywood and this other campground. Have you been able to RV to go see other things that are on your bucket list?
Oh, yes. You want to talk about the...
We have had some incredible trips. We did an East Coast run that was just absolutely magnificent. We did find that we kind of rushed it, and we were in 20 states in 30 days. But Mike did. He's a great travel agent, and so I just sit back, and the joke in our little friends group is Betty's just along for the ride, and that is typically it. I'm just tell me, point in the direction. And you know what, Greg, that I love about living in our RV is when Mike wakes up at 4:00 in the morning, he says, "What do we have on the schedule for today?" And I say, "Nothing that I know of." He said, "Great, let's go to Branson." So you stow everything, you pick up the slides, pull in the slides, pick up the jacks, in 30 minutes you're on the road. So that has been a dream, and even for three of us, like I said, Mike's youngest son travels with us and lives with us. And it works. It absolutely works. So that's been a joy. We've got 3 states left. We've got South Dakota, North Dakota, and Minnesota that we hope to be at to get to see, if not later on this year, definitely next year. We had anticipated doing that last year. We had friends that were work camping in South Dakota, and we were headed up in that there after we did our East Coast run. And that set a point in time where Mike's parents had started having some major health issues. So we cut our trip short, which was a blessing to be able to come home. So we want to get out west more, and so that's also on our list. But we've just fallen in love with Tennessee, and in fact, we hope to eventually have our domicile there. And but we know we want to get back to Dollywood and work. Dollywood does an awesome job with special needs young adults, and Mike's youngest son is our special need child. And so we want to get him up there and let him enjoy that and that experience at Dollywood. So, no, we are constantly on the road. One thing now that his parents have gotten to, they're doing better. We try to take them on an outing each week, and sometimes that's an overnight outing. In fact, weekend before last, we were up in northern Louisiana, and they have what's called the Sunflower Trail, where there's a lot of the farmers up there plant sunflowers. And this little town of Gilliam, Louisiana, less than 150 people that live there. It is they have a festival. They have people from all over the United States that are coming there for their sunflowers. So somebody had a vision. So back to answer your question, we are out and about all the time.
Oh, that's great. And have you done anything special in the last 2 years I think you started a new business, right?
Well, we started a small part of it after Rendezvous. coming from insurance sales, I was an independent contractor with insurance sales. I was not an employee of the company. I should have realized that before I went to Rendezvous, because I had wrote just everything off, depreciation and everything when I was in the insurance business, my vehicles, my motorhomes and all, because they were part of my business. And it's just like the bells went off when we went to Rendezvous with Workamper News in 2014, and Steve Anderson got up there and he says, you can travel, or you can have a business in travel, and if you have a business in travel, you will save a lot of money. And then the bells went off. We met with our CPA, and the two things we asked him when we got back, I said, I got two questions. Here's the book that Steve gave us. Is it legal, or am I going to go to jail? And he said, let me do your taxes, and y'all run your business, do your traveling. And he said, you will really like me when you get through. And 6 years now that we have went from paying thousands of dollars in taxes, and we are just hardly paying any now because of our businesses. And our businesses, we can allow them to get as big as we want because of the need out there, or we can, whereas we don't need a big business to run for income, because we have income, and of course Workamping pretty much covers all our travel expense. Whether it's working Dollywood or whether it's working at a campground or whatever. But the business that we have, and of course, we've got the signs that when we enter a campground, we have a sign out front that tells what we do. We have magnetic signs on our vehicle that says I'm an RV inspector. I've taken about half the RV tech courses, so I pretty much can fix everything on our motorhome. And I have been able to help a lot of people in the campground where we're working a campground, and they'll say, Mike, can you come check this and see if you can help these people? Most time we can, and that's just a good feeling to be able to do. But since then, we have added the detailing. My youngest son, and Betty talked about his special needs. If you was around him, you probably would not know it. He was a twin born at 2 pounds. He was born and had some hemorrhaging, and we lost the twin of him that didn't make it, but he survived, and he just needs supervision, needs people around him to help him decide what to do, make good decisions. He's very influenced by bad decisions. Bad people get around him and they realize that they can tell him to do something and he'll do it, because he doesn't understand that. And so that's why he is traveling with us and living with us. But he has started a detailing business that's his. He's also started a honeybee business that's his, and he started those. And he has a detailing cars and RVs. And with the RVs, whenever he gives them a price to detail the RV, it comes with an inspection. So I help him with that. I go do the inspection, and if I find some things that need to be addressed, then I'll quote him a price to. We've got 3 now. We've got to detail, and I've got to put a new seal on their roof because the roof is leaking. But that's his business, and I help him with that.
Okay, very good. Detailing is something that you never really hear a lot of people talking about as doing a mobile-based business. And yet it's so very important because there are not many options for where people can go and get their RVs really detailed.
No, and of course, a lot of campgrounds won't let you clean them while they're there.
Right.
We're fortunate up in Tennessee. We're real good friends with the owners, and we're the only ones that he lets detail in the campground. And when we're up there, we are busier than we want to be. We'll have 3 or 4 a day, in addition to our 2 6-hour days we work for our site. So it's very busy there,
Mm-hmm. Very good. And so you are still keeping busy doing inspections and also mobile RV repairs.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said, we sometimes it gets so busy, we take our signs up and we put them aside for a few days so we can travel, Well, but, but the business part of it, not just the income, is the tax write-offs it's a business. And if you have an expense, whereas we have an expense to get to the job site, we have an expense when we get there, of traveling there. So you're talking about fuel, oil, everything that goes along. And if you have to pay for a campsite, that's also included in your tax deductions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of deductions available for people who are running their own business from an RV. In fact, the Workamper News has a special course called the Small Business RVer School that is teaching people
absolutely
a lot of those tricks and tips on how they can take advantage of those things and make it work for them.
Yeah.
Super.
The International RV Training Academy is just been a blessing to be a part of it and watch it grow. From when I took the classes, they did not have the big red schoolhouse. They were they were traveling all over the United States. So I stopped in Destin, Florida, and took the first class. And then I was in Natchez, Louisiana. And then once they built the schoolhouse, I've started taking my classes in Athens, Texas. But Betty and I, we've talked about this amongst ourselves and amongst our friends. We're not for sure if we would still be RVing after 6 years had we not had the training from Workamper News and National RV Training Academy to do the things that we do for ourselves. And and once I've taken the maintenance course, whereas I service my own motorhome, I don't pay nobody to change the oil, grease it, service the generator or anything. Whereas I do all that myself, and the not just the savings of cost, but knowing that it was done. Whereas how many times you go to get something serviced and you says, "Man, that was quick. I wonder if they really did that."
What are some of the things that you've encountered that you wouldn't have been able to handle had you not taken that training?
Oh my gosh! Whereas far as major repairs, the first trip was down in Florida. We came back and my service engine light came on, and brand new motorhome, and so I pulled into AutoZone, and they came out and put their tester on it, and they said, "Oh, that's nothing major. It's a number 2 coil." And I said, "Nothing major. You're looking at somebody that's never done anything." I said, "I've always paid to have it done." And they said, "Oh no, here's the instructions." And so I took the cover off and I took the number 2 coil out. I put the $42 part in and cranked the engine, and the service engine light went off. And like that. Well, last year we got to Pigeon Forge for work camping, and when we got there, it sounded like the motorhome was going to blow up. My furnace blower disintegrated. There was about 120 blades that just went all over the place inside my furnace, my heating furnace. And so I went out there and I just kind of was, in the class, what's great is when you see something happen from the class, is that something caused by the inverter, or is that something caused by the converter? Is it AC? Is it DC? So you start asking yourself all these questions, and when you get to the end, you've got the answer of what the problem and how to fix it is.
Oh, that's neat.
And so I looked at the ID number, called Tiffin, and I said, "My blower has just disintegrated." I said, "Do you have the part?" And they said, "Yeah, it's $530. I said, "Wait a minute, it's just my blower. I don't need the whole unit." And they said, "No, you'll have to get the whole unit from us." And I said, "I'll call you back later." So I called an RV parts store in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and I gave them the model, and I said, "My blower disintegrated." And they said, "Yes, sir, we have that." I said, "How much?" And they said, $17.
What?
So I went and picked up the blower, came back, I took my furnace apart, I put the blower in, put it back together, and it has worked ever since.
For $17 versus how much?
Well, the parts would have been $530, and the service would have been another $200. So it would cost me $700 for a $17 repair.
Wow. Well, that kind of covered the cost of the course to learn how to fix it yourself.
Yeah. The courses I have taken, I've got probably $3,000 because I do the hand-on courses. But we figured up the other day, we added up every repair that we've had in the last 6 years, and I know what the RV dealers would have charged, and then I put what it cost us, and it was a savings of $6,000 that we saved.
Mm-hmm. Wow, very good. Do you have any plans to go anywhere this fall or winter?
Oh, yeah. We're doing as we're helping take care of my mom and dad. We're actually working for National RV Training Academy and Workamper News. We have contracted with them in September to work the Dallas RV show. Betty and I will be speaking at the seminars and be helping run the booth there, and then we've also contracted at the end of the year to work the San Antonio show. We'll be speaking at the seminars and we'll be working the booths there. And in between all of that, October, we're going to make a quick trip up to Pigeon Forge, looking for property up there. We will eventually have a home base in Tennessee. So we're looking for property to build a barn dominium up there for when we do have some stopping time, we'll have a place to park, and so that's where then November we'll be back up there. And last year we did something different. We went far south in the wintertime, which we had never done, but we had an opportunity. We in the traveling over 6 years, Greg, what's been amazing is the people you meet doing what we do. Our Facebook has got right at 2,000 followers right now. And many of those are people that we work camped with and across the United States. And these people have gone on to work at other campgrounds and do some other things. So they're contacting you all the time, saying, when are you coming to see us? And we've got some friends that worked with us at Dollywood. He was a cook with me. I was a cook at Dollywood. And my wife, she ran the cash register with this guy's wife. They said, we're managing a campground close to Key West, and says, we've got a site for you. When can you come? So December, we went south. We ended up in Key West. And like I said, we had people that was managing the campground. So the site didn't cost us anything. And we see why snowbirds go south in the winter and north in the summer.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Have there been any real favorite places that you guys have really enjoyed visiting?
Oh my gosh, we were asked that so many times, and we tell them every place that we go is unique. And one of our favorites when we were up the East Coast, I mean, every stop we made up there was incredible. And but Mackinac Island, being out there was just a dream come true, biking it with our bikes, and just the scenery. It's amazing how the scenery changes in just a few hundred miles, and to be able to sit in our motorhome with that front view, 180 degrees view that we've got, and every curve and every hill is a new adventure. Mm-hmm. And we're Christians. We thank God for the opportunity. And we're just not going to take it for granted. So there's a lot. One thing, Mike, with his previous company, worked very hard, and he got to travel all over the world many times. He's been around the world, I think, about 9 times. And so he and I have been married 15 years, and my first trip with him and his company was to Hawaii. And so we were in Hawaii, Vienna, Austria, just Bangkok, Thailand. I mean, just amazing places. But we want to stay now on all of our tires, down on the pavement, and just travel America, because there is so much to see. We've been out west. We took our grandchildren out there several years ago to Yellowstone, and they're teenagers now, and they still talk about that trip. So there's so much to see locally, even here, that we do, but there is so much to see out on the road. But one thing that we did find when we went up the East Coast was an app called Gypsy, and we were not familiar with it. Mike had sent out information or requesting information from all the Chamber of Commerces as we traveled the East Coast, and we were alerted to this, and it's an incredible app. And we have found out since then that there's many other locations that also have the Gypsy app. but we had this young lady via our GPS that stayed with us for 12 hours that day and took us, what was that route? Highway 1, Vermont. And we saw places that were not even on the map. And we would not have known about it if we did not have this Gypsy app. And I think at that time it was $4.99. And so we tell all of our friends and acquaintances about it, and we've had several that have used it on the West Coast and talked about, how invaluable that is. So it's that kind of stuff through the word of mouth that you find out, as you travel. But America's an incredible place to see.
Sure. And you had mentioned how every place that you visited has been unique, and I'm sure that's got a lot has to do with that you're there for a while. You're immersing yourself into that culture. So you're not just showing up for a couple of days or a long weekend, but they're there for a couple of months. And that allows you to really get out and explore the local area. And that's how you fall in love with those.
Yeah. That was the first thing we realized in 2015. We were weekend campers, so Friday to Sunday, and you had to be back at work Monday. And when we contracted Dollywood in 2015, and we didn't have to set up and take down every week, and we were there for 3 months the first year. And we were able, we had trips in one day. We went in the state of Georgia, Tennessee, and North Carolina in one day. Because we were there for a long time, and it's just a world of difference when you can see within 200-300 miles from where you're work camping.
Yes, indeed. I would imagine that would be the case. You had mentioned this Gypsy app. So is this where you hook up with people who are local in the area and can show you around? Is that what that means?
No, that's RV Village. That's another one. RV Village has been amazing. You join RV Village, and most all your RVers that are traveling are on RV Village. And when you check into a campground, you check into RV Village and you let them know that you're at the Cherry Campground in Washington, D.C., and everyone that is in that campground on RV Village will come knocking on your door to meet you.
Well, that's nice.
So we went to the prayer march in Washington, D.C. last year. We just felt God calling us to go pray, and we went there and prayed and came home. We didn't spend any of our tourist dollars in Washington, D.C. But we met. There was about 12 people that were camping in our campground that was there for the prayer march. And just the most amazing people. We met a couple out in Oregon. They drove all the way from Oregon to Washington, D.C. to pray for our country. And we are, and they were not full-timers. They met us, and we told them about Workamper News. We told them about National RV Training Academy and how you get these jobs. And they went back to Oregon and sold their house. And they are full-time RVers now.
That's neat. That's very cool. So what would
they are moving to Tennessee. What's crazy is they call and they said, we've sold our place and we bought land in Tennessee and we're going to see y'all again.
Oh. So if you were to talk to somebody who is on the fence about RVing and work camping, what would you tell them?
First thing we tell them is it works, but I always tell the females in the group, well, of course, the guys too, said there's really 3 important things. You've got to like who you're with. You've got to like small places and just enjoy, the entertainment because it works. And they want to know how can we afford to do this? And we tell them that we have experienced this since 2005 or 6, and we are living on 20% of what our corporate income was, putting more in savings now than we were previously, and that it's a new chapter. It's your wants and needs change, and Mike tells all the guys all you need is 2 pair of jeans, 2 pair of shorts, and some flip-flops, and 4 shirts, and you've got it made.
That's right.
And we can, I think our enthusiasm, because we do enjoy it so much, hopefully it just overflows to give them the confidence that it does work. It does pay for your needs. Now, we have some work camper friends that are like us that do not have to work 40 hours a week in campgrounds. But the blessing, Greg, is that we also have our friends that do need to, and there are opportunities all over the United States.
Mm-hmm.
There is such a shortage, and as you know, the pandemic has really added to that, but there's just a shortage of workers in almost every business. I get tickled whenever we when we're working the booth at the RV shows, and typically it's the gentlemen that come up to me and tell me, I want to know about this work camper stuff, but one thing I'm going to tell you right off the bat is I'm not cleaning toilets. And I laughed with them, and I said, I'm with you, brother. And I said, I went from 8 toilets down to 2, and I'm in heaven. But whenever you're there talking to them face to face, and you tell them all the opportunities from theatrical work. We've met people that ride horses in horse shows out west. We have those that we have friends that work at Adventureland, doing the rides or in management, and there is opportunities there all over the United States. And the importance of Work Camper News, how that they are the liaison between these companies and the individuals, that they can pick and choose. But then that's one thing Mike tells them, where do you want to go next year? And they'll say, out west to Utah. And he'll tell them about Work Camper News, being what the opportunities of being members there enables them and makes available to them. And we always have Work Camper News magazines with us, and we give them a magazine so they can see, the opportunities that are out there. And by joining, then, of course, they have so much more information that's available to them. So we sometimes we feel like we give them overload, because we are still so excited about the opportunities that work camping is providing us.
That's neat.
Greg, one thing I always, I advise them was, what makes it, I guess, easier for us is we were debt free before we decided to do this. So we don't have that note hanging over our head.
Mm-hmm.
We do have friends that they saw what we were doing, and they came and met with us, and they said, we want to do what y'all do. And so they went and borrowed money for the motorhome. They borrowed money for the tow vehicle, and they do work 40 hours a week, but they love it. I mean, they're doing something they love to do compared to what they were doing before. They hated it. It was a job. And now they're at Adventureland, enjoying people, laughing and playing and everything. And there's, and the other thing is, jobs is not a problem. In other words, people that said, oh, but if I go out there and can't get a job and I need to make an extra $20,000 a year, what I'm going to do, that's not a problem with the wages the way they are coming off this pandemic. We saw up in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, Hardee's was advertising starting at $17 an hour.
I know.
to work at a hamburger place. And Dollywood is paying some friends of ours. We recruited several people to come in there this year, and they were so short. They're paying them $15 an hour. And when we started in 2015 at Dollywood, we were making minimum wage $7.35 an hour.
That's right. Yes. There's
So the wages have gone way up. You've got Amazon Workforce. They are starting people at $15 an hour. The beet harvest. So, depending on how much you need, you can find it. And if you just want to work at a campground and get a free site, there are thousands of campgrounds that need your help.
That's great. Great advice, guys. I really appreciate that. Well, it has been a pleasure talking with you folks again. I'm glad things are working out for you, and I really appreciate you sharing your experience and your wealth of knowledge with all of our viewers and listeners.
As always, Greg, it's good to talk to you, and I'm sure we'll see you somewhere down the road.
I'd like to thank Mike and Betty Gill for sharing their story with us today. I liked how they described the ability to really explore an area when work camping. Prior to jumping into the lifestyle, when they were weekend campers, they would visit 3 states in a day. But by work camping, they could truly explore everything within 3 miles from where they were staying. Mike has saved money by doing his own routine maintenance, and he learned to do that by attending courses at the National RV Training Academy. He also likes the ability to work on his own RV to know for sure that service was done correctly. He recalled a time when he was told by a manufacturer that it would cost $530 to replace a blower that had disintegrated in his motorhome, plus $200 for a service call. But because Mike knew what really needed to be done, he found the exact part from a nearby supplier and fixed the problem himself for $17. If anyone lives in the Texas area, Mike and Betty Gill will be attending the Dallas RV Show and San Antonio RV Show later this year, where they will be speaking or staffing booths for the National RV Training Academy or Workamper News. The Gills are great ambassadors of the RV lifestyle and engaging in work camping to support that lifestyle. We've already talked to several other couples who give Mike and Betty full credit for helping them to get started. Mike and Betty have found RVing to be an excellent way to keep active during retirement and to save money by work camping and running a small business from their motorhome. They have more than 2,000 Facebook followers now, most of whom they met while work camping. Feel free to connect with Mike and Betty Gill on that platform. Today's show is sponsored by Small Business RVer School. This new course from Workamper is designed specifically for entrepreneurs on the move and helps you build a business you can run anytime from anywhere. The self-directed course helps you be your own boss while reducing stress and saving on taxes. Through a series of online videos and monthly calls, you are taught the steps necessary to build and manage a successful mobile business. Life is way too short, so choose what you want to do when you want to do it by starting a business of your own. For more information, visit www.smallbizrver.com. That's all I have for this week. Next time, I'll have a wonderful interview planned with the Executive Director of Escapees Care. It's a campground and medical facility that gives RVers a place to stay if they ever need to recover from an illness, or surgery, or an accident. That's a big problem for full-time RVers who don't have a home to return to if they ever break a leg or require surgery. I'll have more details on the next episode of The Workamper Show. Thanks for listening.